You're watching Tackle Talk Live, now into our 6th season as your #1 resource for bass tournament information, with a primary focus on both Toledo Bend and Sam Rayburn. Your hosts, Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff and Territory Manager for Sportco Marketing, Kevin Jean. Two guys with years of successful tournament experience on all levels. Guys who understand the importance of good information. Anglers willing to share their knowledge to help you become a better angler. So pay close attention as these guys give you more insight on how, when, and where to catch winning stringers. Here are your hosts of Tackle Talk Live, Steve Graff and Kevin Jean.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tackle Talk Live here on May the 12th of 2025. I'm Iowa Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with Territory Manager for Sportco Marketing, Kevin Jean, down there in Lafayette, Louisiana. Kevin, did you have a good weekend, Kev?
I did, Steve. I did. Good weekend, good Mother's Day. As you can tell, I'm in a new room. We just got moved into our new house down here in Lafayette, or in Youngsville. So let me get that right. In Youngsville. So a little bit of an echo today. I'm in my office. I haven't got completely set up yet. I haven't got the mic and stuff set up. So I apologize if there's a little echo. But we will have that fixed next week. So
Hey, ain't nothing. That's all right. We got you today. We're good. Everything's gonna be good. And Kevin, you know, it's of course it's hard to believe we're in the month of May. I mean, that's we're 5 months into the year already, and I'm like, holy cow! I mean, we're temperatures this past weekend on Mother's Day was, I think here the high was like 73 in Natchitoches, and then but I think Tuesday we hit 91 or 93 degrees in our neck of the woods here. I mean, we're talking one extreme to the other. This weather has just been insane.
It has, Steve, and you know, you talk about May. We're in May, and I was just talking to Ryan Pinkston. Of course, he's going to be one of our guests today. But our first guest, Mr. Riley Harris, catches a 40-pound bag in May.
Yeah,
and that's what me and Ryan were talking about. I don't recall, Steve. There's been some 40-pound bags on Toledo Bend, but I don't recall there ever being a 40-pound bag in May. Now, please, anybody, if I'm wrong, let me know. Me and Ryan both have thought hard on this, and I don't recall one. There's been some big 30s in June, I think a 40. Of course, there's been some 40s in February and March. I do not recall one in May. So going to be an interesting interview with Riley Harris to kind of, he's going to break it down for us, how it went down, things like that. I think he's going to give up a little bit more information, Steve, than he usually does, being that it's on Toledo Bend and not his home body of water on Sam Rayburn. So
right.
We'll see what Riley is able to break down for us.
Well, I mean, it's just, I don't know how you feel, but to me, logically, that sounds like 40 pounds, 5 bass. Some of those fish could not have spawned out. They probably were still spawning.
I haven't talked to Riley yet. I don't know.
I just find it hard to believe you can catch 40 pounds and them not have eggs in them at this stage of the game.
Steve, I bet they were all post-spawn. I bet they were
really.
I bet they were early post-spawners. I mean, I bet they were early spawners that have already fed up and got back healthy.
Now that's possible. Yeah, that's possible.
And the reason I say that is because I know how Riley likes to fish. He's an offshore guy. He's a scoper.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's how he caught them. And if that's how he caught them, then these got to be post-spawn fish. Again, I have not talked to him about any of this. That is just my opinion based on knowing Riley. So we'll find out here very soon.
Okay. And also today we've got Ryan Pinkston, Toledo Bend guide Ryan Pinkston, coming on to talk about the Sealy event. You know, how, guys, how, when, and where you may be able to get a bite and maybe cash a check out. Nobody better than a great guest to have on today. Between him and Riley Harris, you should be able to pick up some information that might help you cash a check this coming weekend at Bob Sealy.
Yeah, also, there's no doubt. I mean, you're going to get to hear how a 40-pound bag was caught. Ryan Pinkston, one of the best guides on the lake. Ryan does a goodest job of anybody of breaking down the water, breaking down what's going on Toledo Bend. He's done it long enough. So he's going to be able to give us a full fishing report and what to expect going into the weekend.
Yep. And Kevin, what happened this past weekend on Sam Rayburn with Outlaw Outdoors? A lot of people had eyes on this tournament. What kind of turnout would they have for the No Scope, No Hope Outdoor Outlaws tournament? looked like they had 106 teams show up. So is this sending a message to other tournament organizations? Hey, you may pull better if you eliminate this forward facing sonar. I don't know.
Possibly, Steve. I don't think it was a turnout Clint expected. We shared a clip here on Tackle Talk in the middle of the week, him saying that, there wasn't enough entries that would intrigue other tournament formats to go to the no scope. So at the time, 106, it was a good showing. Was it good enough? I don't know. I do know for a fact Bass Champs, Texas Team Trail, you can go down the line. Everybody was watching this event
Yeah.
to see what the entry is going to look like.
Yeah.
It was enough to bring curiosity. Was
Yeah.
it enough to change it? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, just
106 entries, by the way, for those that don't know what it had 106 entries.
right. And a little birdie has sent me a message this morning. BASS is actually in meetings today to address possibly forward facing sonar and what they're going to do about it, if anything. So,
And Steve, that tells me that has to be a viewing problem.
oh, absolutely. I think the numbers are probably already in from Fork, is what I think has happened. And that's caused them to sit back and say, what do we need to do something different with this?
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, MLF at this stage right now, and I don't know if I ever thought I would say this, I enjoy watching MLF, but more than I do BASS right now.
Steve, I agree in a lot of ways. I don't agree with the way MLF has been ran. I don't agree with how they done by cutting all these guys.
Yeah.
But this new format, I do the one period of using live scope.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed. I have really enjoyed, and I've kept up with it pretty good bit because of Justin and Nick and Colby Miller and all those guys that I'm really good friends with. I've kept up with them, so I've watched a pretty good bit of live. And man, just the 1 hour of using the live scope and wondering what hour they're going to use it, and and when they do use it, they catch them. But seeing how when they can't use it, the changes they make, so on and so forth. I agree. I have really enjoyed the MLF format of how it lays out of watching it. It just as far as watching it on TV, I have enjoyed it.
Well, it's added some intrigue to want to tune in, because again, and none of the anglers, they don't know what period their fellow anglers competitors are using it. They don't have that information, but not that that's important to them. But I just really think it's added an element of interest with MLF, and I think BASS, from what I'm gathering from some BASS pros as to what they think might happen, a split in the tournament season. Half of them use it, and the other half you can't use it. Now, what lakes? Don't know that. Some lakes are more conducive to it than others. We both know that, but some lakes are not. And but anyway, we'll see what BASS does. Hopefully, they'll maybe have some breaking news sometime this week that maybe we can talk about next week. But anyway, but we're going to wrap up the Bassmaster event, and an incredible Bassmaster event on Lake Fork as rookie Tucker Smith took home the victory. And Kevin, I think they were short by 4 pounds of setting the all-time record for most weight in a 4-day event. And I think it's 127 is what ended up having for Tucker and some change, and then or 128, something like that. 132, I think, was the record. Right. And but anyway, what a great tournament. It just tells me, I'm telling you, Kevin, Lake Fork, dude, it's just amazing to me the quality of the fish that they're catching there right now. And I really feel sorry for the Bassmasters, because they're going from the penthouse to the outhouse with Sabine River. I mean, you're going from the greatest fishery in America just about to maybe the worst fishery in America.
Well, I don't want to throw Sabine River under the bus like that, but
let's be honest here. It's bad.
They go from hoping to catch 25 pounds to hoping they catch 12 pounds.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that in that degree, it's going to be different. But now let me tell you, a lot of those elite guys are excited to be at Sabine River because
Oh,
it's their style of
absolutely.
fishing.
Especially your flippers and pitchers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, they're shallow water river guys. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
everybody, I'm really good friends with Cliff. Hey, Cliff is ecstatic to get to go to Sabine River.
Yeah.
You get a lot of those guys. Greg Hackney,
Greg Hackney, he couldn't wait to get there.
and look, Greg had a good event on Lake Fork.
He did. He
But
finished
we can go
11th.
down the line of guys that are happy. That's just their style of fishing,
Yeah. And it was good to see. A lot of guys were upset. I know a friend of mine was upset that on, I think, day one or Hackney did really well, and they didn't have a camera with him at all. Never really showed him. But Seth Fighter, they did have a camera with him, especially on the final day. And it was good to see somebody pitching and flipping a jig that.
Well, Brandon Lesson throwing a frog. I mean,
yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
That again,
And so it was just fun to watch a little bit more this time. But again, you may be right. Maybe their numbers is what's got them in a meeting right now. Like, okay, we got to do something different here. But anyway, we'll catch up on all that later. Hopefully next week we'll have more on that. We're going to wrap up the Toledo Bend Elite 8. Kevin participated in that 2 weeks ago, and we've got the results from that. Good turnout. The guys that are putting this on, man, hats off. Y'all doing a great job with this, Kevin. We both know them. We know how they are and how good a job they do.
Yeah, and as Steve said, we'll jump in. That's going to be after our 2 interviews. That's what we're going to jump into. Talk about the Elite 8. Great event. Them guys over in there in Natchitoches do a great job of putting it on. I know more and more clubs are talking about jumping in this. It had a great turnout this year, and it's definitely growing. I've had 2 different Bass Club presidents called me since that event to discuss it with me about how it went, that they've been watching to see if they want to put their club in this next year. And I think it's going to get more and more signed up. So,
well, good deal. Good deal. That's good news to hear. All right. Also, before we get to our first interview, call your buddies, call your friends. If you're fishing a Sealy Big Bass Splash on Toledo Bend, our next 2 interviews coming up, you're going to want to hear what they got to say. So call your buddies. Get them online. We're on Facebook Live right now. Have them click on, tune us in. And before we get to those guys, we're going to take a quick break, recognize a few of our sponsors. And when we return, we will visit with Riley Harris, who just won the BFL with a 40-pound sack on Toledo Bend. We'll be right back. You're watching Tackle Talk Live.
A good marine dealer is hard to find, but a great dealer is even harder. But in Iowa, Louisiana, there's a marine dealer that falls into the great category. Power Implements Marine, South Louisiana's go-to dealer for all things related to the boating industry. A Minn Kota, Garmin, and Mercury dealer, guaranteeing you first-rate service in both sales and repair. A great selection of new and used boats to choose from, including Skeeter, G3, Ranger, Camus, and Go Devil. A knowledgeable staff that will treat you like family and are always willing to go the extra mile to ensure you walk out a happy customer. To see everything they have to offer, go to powerimplements.com or stop by 606 East Miller Street in Iowa, Louisiana. Plus, mention Tackle Talk Live and save $500 off a new or pre-owned boat or $50 off your first service ticket. Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Nothing is worse than being sick on your family or fishing getaway. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in the hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your health care needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6 just south of Toledo Town, or call 318-508-5323. Very few stores are a complete one-stop shop, but Cypress Knee Outdoors is such a place. A store within a store. Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, drinks, or bait and tackle, they have it. Cypress Knee Outdoors carries top-name fishing brands like Strike King, Sandtone, Spro, and V&M. Crappie jigs from Bobby Garland. Need hunting gear? They have it. Ammunition from rifle to shotgun shells. Deer scents from Buck Wild and Doe and Heat. Deer stands from Titan and feeders from T-Hanger. Cypress Knee has it all. Located off I-49, exit 127, just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana. So stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors and let John Abram and his staff show you everything they have to offer. Or give them a call at 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live. We appreciate you tuning us in today. This segment presented by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches. If you need boat or car insurance, hey, check them out. The Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches. Toledo Health Clinic. Got a hook in your hand? Hey, go see those guys. They'll help you get it out. Cypress Knee Outdoors. John Abraham and the gang stocking the best in hunting and fishing that you would ever need. And Toledo Bend Bass Series. Great job they're doing with the new circuit over at Toledo Bend. Shimano and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana. And Kevin, if you mention Tackle Talk Live, what happens?
You get $500 off the purchase of any new or used boat, Steve, or you get $50 off your service ticket. So make sure to tell them the guys at Tackle Talk Live sent you and save big money.
And on the Tackle Talk hotline, we've got a man who stunned the world with a May bag of 40 pounds. BFL champion Riley Harris. Riley, man, welcome to the program. We appreciate you coming on with us. And I guess, Riley, the first thought when Kevin told me and we were talking about kind of what you might have done, the first question I had, were these spawning fish or was this all post spawners? I mean, what were you focusing on?
These were all post spawners. Yes, sir.
So Riley, man, look, as we always do with Tackle Talk Live, before we get into the day and how it went down, let's talk about practice. Let's talk about, I know you've come over and spent some time with Toledo Bend. You're a Sam Rayburn guy. What you were looking for in practice, what you found in practice. I know you was talking about your wife had lost. We was talking off air. Your wife had lost a big one in practice with you. So kind of take us through the pre-tournament days before leading up to the BFL.
Yes, sir. So the previous weekend, me and my wife just kind of went out to have fun, and I just went looking around offshore. That's just kind of what I wanted to do. We spent a lot of time graphing, and I ended up rolling to a spot that I've had for a while, and I scanned by it and I saw there's a bunch of them on it. So first cast we threw out there, she hooked up on one. It had to have been over 10. She couldn't move it. I saw it come out of the water. It was ridiculous. And then that one just ended up getting wrapped around a tree and pulled off. And then I ended up catching one that was a 740. And I was like, okay, we're going to get out of here. And I didn't get to fish or practice anymore till Friday. I went out. I had some engine troubles. I got to get out Friday and look around, and I idled all day and marked a few spots that had them. And that was about it for practice for me.
So if you're okay, I expected this to go a little differently. I'm not gonna lie. I expected you to talk about scoping. So you're old school idling and casting it, not looking at these fish on scope.
In a way, yes, sir. So I spent a lot of time idling every time I got to go out and look. And if I set up where I was downwind of the spot, I could see them on the bottom on scope.
Right. Yes.
On 362.
Yeah, but you're fishing spots. You're not just on the trolling motor looking for them.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah, I had a lot of people that were that they were on high, on the trolling motor and just zooming all around. And I mean, I spot locked on several times Saturday.
Yeah.
So Riley, how much did you have to move around to catch this bag? Was this a 1-spot deal, 2-spot deal? I mean, how much moving around did you have to do? Did you do a lot of running?
I think I hit about 8 or 9 spots that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the spot where me and my wife had fished and she had lost that big one. My first cast in there, I caught one that was around 6. And then the next fish I hooked up on there, I'd actually broke off the Sunday prior. She still had my Carolina rig hook in her mouth, and she was an 8-pounder.
No.
But I ended up catching, swear to God, Swear to God, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
And yeah, so I caught 27 and change off that spot, and then I kept moving from spot to spot, and I'd maybe catch one or two, and then
Wait
I
a minute,
just
wait a
have to
minute,
keep
wait a minute.
moving.
So 27 and change off your first spot. What was your
Yes,
small,
sir.
like, what was, okay, you had 27. What was that 27 like? You had a 7 or 8. I mean, you had some big ones. What was your bottom fish?
I think my two bottom fish were like cookie cutter threes.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
So you had 21 with 3. All right. So you left that spot, 27. You got 21 with 3. Next spot, you can go take it from there.
Yes, sir. I think I went to 2 more spots and didn't catch one, and I made like a 10 or 15-minute run, and ended up catching one that was about 6 at my next spot. Didn't catch anything, and I thought it was going to go down there. I caught 2 6s and a 7 there the day prior, and I thought it was going to go down. We spot locked there and fished the heck out of it. Unfortunately, that was it. Ran to one more spot, caught one that was right at 7. Then I kind of started debating on going in early just because of the day, and it was pretty rough out there. But I knew that there were some other guys in there fishing that could really
Yeah,
back
you
them
got
up
Cole and
if
Tater.
they were on them. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got to give respect to those guys, man, because they're a different breed for sure. So I was like, man, I'll make one more little run and see if I can't upgrade just something. I ended up catching one that was like 5.5 off one more spot, and the last spot that I pulled up on, there's a group down there, and I caught that 11, and she was tagged, which I thought was really cool.
So Riley, you had 40. I'm looking at it now, 40.08, and then second place, which was Cole Moore, and Tater Reynolds was third. 2 great anglers right there behind you, 29.03 and 22.09. So I mean, this wasn't even a contest. I mean, you basically blew them out of the water.
Well, yeah, when you catch 40 pounds,
yeah.
But the bad thing is, Cole had 29. So, I mean,
Yeah.
29 in May, you're typically going to win that.
Oh yeah.
Riley, so Riley, you catch the 11, and I'm assuming as soon as you catch the 11, I'm done. Like we are done. What time did you catch the 11?
It was like right at 1, something like that. It was right around 1.
Gotcha. So offshore, I know you mentioned Carolina rig. My brain knowing Toledo Bend goes to Carolina rig, football jig, crankbait. Was it something inside those arsenal? Was it all 3? Was it just one? Can you divulge any of that?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, I actually had a ton of rods on my deck when I left the dock that morning, but I knew just kind of how the previous weekend was that I was going to be able to, hit them with some big stuff, and that's what I did. I threw that Carolina rig with a big Boosa ribbon tail worm. Caught 2 really big ones off of that, and 6 Cents is coming out with that new bait. It's called a bodega. Just a really big profile bait. I think it's going to be really good with a Carolina rig and a swing head. That's what I had it on, and then I was cranking them too with a 500 DD, and it's, you know how it is. It's just fun when you get to hit them with stuff like that.
What'd you catch the 11 on?
The bodega. Yeah, but it's a really, really big profile bait, and I like it a lot.
Now, are we talking a glide style bait?
No, it's plastic.
No, sir. That's actually a soft plastic.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's got 2 really big tails coming off of it. And I was throwing it in that plum bug. I mean, it's that summertime color. It's one of the best.
Yeah. Plum apple, red bug. I mean, so if, Riley, if you're fishing this weekend, of course, I know you're going to your big fish holes, and are you fishing Sealy?
No, sir. I'm not. I got some stuff I got to attend to this weekend.
Okay.
I'd love to be out there, but
so what advice?
It's gonna be a great event.
what advice would you have for somebody getting ready to go fish that? Any certain worm colors, any certain type of worms? Do you throw a big worm? Do you focus strictly on big fish? What's your advice to somebody just trying to get a check there?
Yes, sir. Like I'm running as many piles as I can, throwing big baits at them.
There you go.
So,
So
Riley, I'm not done asking questions about this, man. I'm enamored. 40 pounds in Toledo Bend in May just doesn't happen. Again, do not answer anything you don't want to answer. I'm not going at, obviously you had something you're looking for, and I'm not going there. You had some type of offshore structure, and it might be a brush pile, like you said. It might be a river bend, creek bend. There's something that you got dialed in that's holding the big ones. So what type, what depth of water are you looking at?
yes, sir. So mainly I was just focusing on piles. You know, obviously I had to cover a lot of water. Like I've already had a bunch of piles marked, but I was going through a bunch of piles, and I would scan by them, and if I could see them down there next to them, I would stop and fish and see if there's anything down there, and if not, I'd keep on moving. But yes, sir, I typically it was around 15 to 20 feet is what those piles were in that were holding them. You know, I wasn't fishing anywhere like 30 feet or anything like that. That's just not what I do.
Yeah.
I don't like to get out there. But yes, sir, I was anywhere from 15 to 20 feet, you know, and I was just throwing a big worm or cranking right next to those piles.
Let's go very general here. Above or below the bridge? I already know the answer, but
man, I think you can do it on either side of the bridge right now.
really,
I talked to a few guys that fish both sides. You know, I don't know if you can go and catch 40 again. You know, it's just a blessed day, but I know you can catch big ones on piles offshore, above and below the bridge right now.
yeah. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, you can, if you're dialed in on where you're looking for these piles. And look, there's a lot of piles in Toledo Bend with the amount of crappie
Oh,
fishing
yeah.
that we have. You know, there's a lot of piles. Let me ask this, Riley: are those fish right now, being it's May, they're just now really getting out there? Are they in the piles, or are they just around them?
Most of mine, I only think I caught one that was directly in the pile, but most of them are like sitting right there on the sides.
Sitting aside, waiting to eat some white perch.
Right. How much is this weather change coming in? How I mean, gonna get hot. How quick does that affect these fish? I mean, is it gonna make the deep bite better?
It could, yes, sir. I think it might actually push more fish out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
agree.
wouldn't be surprised if the fishing got better out there.
Yeah.
No, agree 100%.
Cool.
Riley, man, I don't even know. I don't even know what else to even go. My mind's blown that, 40 pounds. Because again, man, that just doesn't happen on Toledo in May. And to run it like you were running it, like I said, you were keyed in. You knew what you were looking for. Hats off to you, dude. I mean, awesome tournament. I just, man, I was still in shock of what you did, but you're hot right now, dude. You've been catching them since last fall. Can continue what you're doing, and best of luck, man.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me on.
All right. BFL champion Riley Harris. And Kevin, he gave us some pretty good information there and pretty good details as to kind of what you might want to look for if you're headed for the Sealy this coming weekend.
No, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm texting our next interviewee, but yeah, no, he broke it down. I did not expect him to give up the pile thing like he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
what he's talking about is, I mean, for those of us that fish a lot, it makes total sense what he was doing, especially this time of year.
Yeah, no, it does, Steve. Sorry, still texting Ryan here, giving him the right number to call. No, it does. It makes a lot of sense. Now, look, don't think that you're just going to go find a pile on 15, 20 foot and catch these kind of fish.
No.
When I say he had it locked in on what he was looking for, there's a brush pile on every point, almost on every bank on Toledo Bend.
Yep.
He was locked in on where these piles needed to be,
Yeah,
the
and I
right
think
depth,
the
so on
right.
and so
I think
forth.
the depth of water is where he was key, and I think that was the key to what he was looking for. And
Well, and
eh,
I think it's where it's at too. I don't think these fish are all the way out yet.
yeah,
I don't think they're out there by the river channel.
right.
They're coming out, so on and so forth. I liked how he answered your question about the bridge, though.
Yeah, he did.
He
He,
said you
he
can
straddled the
catch
bridge,
them
didn't he?
above and below.
He straddled the bridge. I thought that was pretty good. But anyhow, okay. Well, all right. We're going to take another quick break, recognize a few of our sponsors. When we return, we got the fishing report from an actual guide on Toledo Bend, Ryan Pinkston, who will be joining us. Stay tuned. You're watching Tackle Talk Live. We'll be right back.
The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local fishing guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guide for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. 2 locations to serve you in both Nacogdoches and Bravos, Texas. Or give him a call at 936-205-4467. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome back to Tackle Talk Live. This segment presented by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Toledo Health Clinic, Cypress Knee Outdoors, Shimano, and Power Implements Marine, located right there in Iowa, Louisiana, as well as Toledo Bend Bass Series, Kevin.
Yes, Steve, Toledo Bend Bass Series, a new organization right there for all you Toledo Bend guys. It is only Toledo Bend tournaments. No scope, no live scope. It's off limits the week of. It's the North versus South Series, Steve. One tournament is north of the bridge. The next tournament will be south of the bridge. So that gives you an opportunity. If it's off limits south of the bridge that week, you can go fishing north of the bridge. For all you guys that live local or they're on vacation, you can't just sit there and not fish that week. You can actually go fishing on Toledo Bend and still be eligible. $180 entry fee, 100% trailering, no guides, no pros, no live scope. Get registered today, ToledoBendBassSeries.com.
There you go. And on the Tackle Talk hotline, we've got Toledo Bend guide Ryan Pinkston. And Ryan, I guess the first question I got, other than Riley Harris catching a 40-pound bag, which is, extraordinary, how has Toledo Bend fishing overall for the average anglers right now? How's it fishing?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back on, guys. Congratulations to Riley. It's fishing really good. It really is. Last week, let me back up 2 weeks, Steve. 2 weeks ago was absolutely phenomenal. The crankbait bite was wonderful. Anywhere you went, you could load the boat on crankbaits from 3 feet down to, 16, 17 foot depth. Mm-hmm. And then we had that front came in about a week ago, shut them down a little bit, slowed them down. Last week, they started firing back up, really good, getting back on a crankbait and some other, deeper, baits. And then we had some weather, lake jumped up, a lot of variables come into play. And it's been pretty good. Overall, for the 1st of May, it's doing good. It's looking good. The fish are very healthy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ryan, and I don't know how much you got to listen to it, but Riley Harris just dropped a bombshell on us. Yeah, I did not expect him to fully go brush pile mode on us, but he did. And he said it was brush piles, 15 to 20 foot of water, catch one here and there. Kind of took him all day to catch. He caught the 11 about 1 o'clock. But so we know
Wow.
that's happening, Ryan. 2 weeks ago, was it 2 weeks ago? A week and a half ago, I think. I was there for the lead 8. It went down on cypress trees then. It was going down. It was one way up north. Second and third place.
Okay.
Well, I say it was one. I actually don't know where it was one at. Second and third place was way north flipping cypress trees all day. And I mean, had like their 12 biggest fish was 43 pounds. So that's a stringer on cypress trees a week and a half ago. Now Riley's catching a 5 pound, 40 pound bag, a 5 fish, 40 pound limit on trees offshore. So obviously you can go do a little bit of everything right now.
Exactly. Yes, you can. So since he let the cat out of the bag, I'm not the only one apparently catching fish off brush piles. So what has happened? Thanks, Riley. So what has happened?
There's gonna be
wait
a minute. There's gonna be some people mad at Riley Harris for that.
Yeah. So what I have seen, let me back up again. 2 weeks ago, your typical May bite.
Yeah.
Fish are starting to pull offshore. The lake's warming up a little bit. They're getting on those first points and first ridges. And so crankbait is key for catching, not just good fish, but a lot of fish in May. And so, like I say, after the front a week ago, I'm talking about like that last Friday, it slowed that down and now it's picking back up. So what we were keying in on, what I've been doing a lot of is being that the fish, let's talk about offshore first. The ones that are pulling offshore, they're setting up on those first points and the secondary points and also those first ridges. Now, I'm not talking about the ridges way out in the middle of the lake. I'm talking about like your first one. Sometimes we're not, within a couple of casts of the bank, all the way out to maybe a couple hundred yards, but in an 8 to 12 foot depth. But those type areas where there's brush piles in that shallow or those first ridges, and some of these brush piles are shallow, and we're catching them on some, just like sometimes they do over at Rayburn, those shallow brush piles. In that 8 to 14, 15 foot depth, those ones closer to the bank are holding a lot of fish. Now, I haven't seen any 11 pounders, but we've caught several up to 7, 7.25, several 5s and 6s doing just that. Shallow brush piles, worms, big worms. That's all we're throwing. Big worms, a few bites on a jig, a lot of bites on a crankbait, things like that. Now, of course, you can still scope the piles too, and then you can find some random ones, still out there scoping. Not a problem there. So what happened this week, as y'all know, we've had a lot of rain. The lake shot up another foot, and then we had that cooler front, so it cooled the water down. So it's really scattered the fish out. So the fish that you were talking about on the cypress trees, they have no reason to leave. So you really have two different combinations going on here, two different deals going on. You've got a deep bite out there. The fish are already out there. They're not going to leave. And then you have a lot of fish sitting on these shallow points around these cypress trees, and they're not going anywhere either because you just finished the shad spawn. The water's cool. It's 71 to 74. They're not leaving. And now you have brim up there, just tons of brim. So those bass hanging around there, they're not going. They're not going anywhere. Saw a guy Saturday catch a 7.5 pounder on a frog in 3 feet of water around a cypress tree. And the fish was just speeding up shad left and right. So they're full of shad. So they're not going anywhere. So you've got kind of a 1-2 punch there. If you feel comfortable shallow, I really think you can go cast a check shallow on a frog, buzz bait, big spook, things like that. Maybe, I don't know about a swim jig. That's kind of slowed down a little bit. Or you can go with your bigger profile baits, out deeper.
Ryan, what about, for me personally, and I'm one of those guys, I love docks. I love fishing docks. Can you go to boat docks off of points close to deeper water? Would that be a good pattern to maybe check for this event?
Yeah, 100%, especially the ones with brush on it. And then the ones on the points, you got to key in right now, if you're going to fish the bank or closer to the bank, you're going to have to be around some kind of point. Now, people have a misconception a lot of times when they think of a point, they think of a big, long,
No.
jutting point that goes out into the middle of the lake. No,
Right.
no, I'm talking about just a corner. It
Yeah.
can just be a straight bank, and that thing makes a corner, and it sticks out, let's say, 10 feet,
Yeah.
and then straighten back up. Even if there's not a lot of a drop-off, that's enough to hold them. That's
Yeah.
where they're staging right there. And the ones that have the hard bottom, the clay, which you really can't see it right now because the lake is up so high, but if you know some of those shallow points that have cypress trees on them, that's in that 3 to 5 foot of water that's got clay right there, that's where they are. So where they should be out in that 10 to 15 foot on the edge of that point, they've now, a lot of our fish were actually catching up on top of it, right in front of the clay. I mean, right in front of the cypress tree on those hard bottoms in 3 to 5 feet of water, throwing a Carolina rig up there.
Yeah.
And so, and then sometimes they'll move up actually up into the cypress trees, but a lot of them are sitting right in front of them up on top of the point feeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ryan, one thing that,
And you
again,
can
I
throw
was there a week
anything
and
at that.
yeah, I was there a week and a half ago, and I didn't really get much of a practice in, and then we fished Friday, Saturday. But one thing that we keyed in on and did very well with was a shad spawn. Is there? I know it's falling off, but is there any type of shad spawn at First Daylight anymore?
I'm not seeing much. I was
Yeah.
about a week, as you said, about a week and a half ago. It was still lingering on a little bit. The last 4 or 5 days is pretty much done. And the water temperature cooled back off. That may have had something to do with it there a little bit too. But from what I've seen, it's done. Now, they haven't left. There's
Right.
tons of shad still up there in the bushes around the trees, and is mainly cypress trees. But if you're going to key in on that, so the guys coming to the lake this week that are listening, if you feel comfortable fishing shallow, you're going to have to fish the points with the bushes and cypress trees on them, preferably wind-blown points if there's some wind blowing, or those secondary points, but don't get caught up in the back of the pockets. Fish the front 20 to 30% of the creeks in the pockets, not necessarily main lake, but right there on the edges of that stuff.
All right, Ryan, I'm coming to Toledo Bend this weekend. I'm fairly new at Toledo Bend, and but I'm looking to fish the Sealy. What 2 baits are you going to tell me I need to have tied on?
Now, do you want to fish shallow or do you want to fish deep?
Give me 2 for each.
Yeah, let's go both.
Okay, starting shallow, I would definitely have a frog on, and I'm not talking about a rivet, like a popping frog, like a Spro or a 6 cents or Strike King, whatever you prefer.
Mm-hmm.
White or a shad color has been working best. If not, go straight black. I would start with a white though, or a shad color frog, 65-pound braid. And then secondly, if you wanted to go all out and you're wanting to, have an opportunity to catch a big one, if the wind's blowing, I'd throw a spook. I'd throw a big bone-colored spook and catch you a 5-pounder, go weigh it in, get your check, and go back. If the wind blows, if you get a little cloud cover, but if the wind blows, I would not hesitate, especially on some of that more outside main lake stuff. You can throw that thing to 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I would not have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Those would be my 2 shallow baits right there. The frog would be number 1. If I'm going offshore, it's 2 things. I mean, you're going to have a Carolina rig. They're eating the mess out of it right now, as they always do in May. And then a big crankbait.
Yeah.
Like I say, we're fishing from 3 to 4 feet with a crankbait all the way out to, 17 or 18 feet. And I've got like 5 tied on. So I've got 1 or 2 for ever depth. And that's what I do. The third bait, if I can throw a third one in there, would be a mag trick worm, like a big J mag or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can either Texas rig it. It's a little bit early for that, but if you're wanting the bigger bite, you could Texas rig it or put it on a Magnum shaky head, and that right there would be my bigger fish bait, I guess you could say, if I wanted to work an area over. But just to get bites, and I don't mean bites, I mean quality. You can catch 5 to 8 pound fish on it. the Carolina rig has been very strong. And
Are
let
the-
me just throw this in there, Steve. You were talking about coming to Toledo Bend. Let me throw something else out there for the people that are new or not listening. If from what we've seen, and it's typical May stuff, if they're there, they're biting very quickly.
Yes.
Mhm.
So if you are fishing these points or these first ridges out there, and you look up and you've been there for 15 minutes, well, you've been there 10 minutes too long if you hadn't had a bite. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they're biting on the first or second cast everywhere. And the same thing on some of that shallow vegetation, that, that dollar weed, and I call it, the stuff that comes up around the bank, around, the cypress trees and stuff like that. If there's one in there, man, they are eating quick.
Yeah.
You don't have to, if you're sitting there just throwing and you and your partner have made, 10, 15, 20 casts and you ain't had a bite, then you've wasted about 10 casts, if that makes sense.
Can I go?
These fish
Keep
are
moving
feeding.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, these fish are feeding right now. They are moving out to feed. And we see this every year. There's that 2-week window, Ryan, when them fish have started to move offshore. They're moving offshore to feed. And they have started to move offshore. And when they are just getting, and I say offshore, 10 to 20 foot of water, they're going out there to feed. And when you pull up, you can catch them right off the bat. It's not like June and July and you're begging them to bite.
Right. Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. And that's what I was saying. Going into June and July, kind of the end of May, we're throwing more Texas rigs or those, big shaky heads and things like that. But right now, that's why I said I've got about 5-6 crankbaits on the front deck, and we're just running. I mean, going and going and going.
No, I'm pulling up on them
shot,
them 10 to 15, them 10 to 15 foot points where you can crank them in about 5 casts. I pull up on a point, I'm cranking about 5 casts. I ain't got bit, I'm going to the next one. But there's so many to cover.
That's exactly right.
Well, and that leads
so what you're gonna
that leads to my next question.
Go ahead, Steve.
If this is another style that I love to do. I love to flip bushes. Can I go to the bushes anywhere on the lake? Because the lake's up 5.4 inches above pool right now. Is there enough water on the bushes that possibly hold some fish right now?
There is enough water to hold bushes. I don't think there's enough water in there to feel comfortable telling somebody, hey, you're going to go cash a check flipping bushes.
Yeah. Okay.
You can catch some fish out of the bushes right now. Now here's the thing about that. The SRA's pulling on it and they're dropping. And one thing about that is when they start doing that, the shallow fish, even though they're still there, it gets them kind of antsy.
Yeah.
And it's gonna start falling. There's not any, projection of a lot of rain this week. So they're gonna pull it back down a little bit. That could, it'll actually make them come out to those points even better. I wouldn't spend a lot of time, flipping bushes, which is odd. I've done it some.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is you can flip in the bush and you can catch a pound, a 3-pounder, or you can throw a frog or a topwater up there and catch a 5-pounder.
Yeah.
So they seem to be, they're really feeding. You know what I mean? They are. I caught one the other day, just to give you a prime example. Last week I caught actually 2 back-to-back, a 6 and a 5. And they're on a clay point right in front of some cypress trees in about 4 foot of water. And I caught them on a big crankbait that runs 14 feet.
Yeah.
And I'm just digging it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm throwing it up there, but they hit it on about the 3rd turn. And the 6-pounder, actually, Kevin, you may have seen me talking about this. The 6-pounder actually had 2 tails sticking out of its mouth. And one of them was about a 7 to 8 inch gizzard shad. The first time I've seen 2 sticking out, but it was a giant, big. I could tell it was a big gizzard shad. Now the next one was a 5-pounder that had about a 7-pound frame, and he was your typical skinny post-spawn fish. He hadn't fattened up like that other one did, but that other one looked like it was about to lay eggs. It was so full of shad.
Yeah. The thing about Toledo Bend right now is those fish are feeding. All the fish from shallow to deep are feeding. They're trying to feed up. They're hard post spawn, and the thing about it, Ryan, there's a lot of shad to go around. Toledo Bend is full of shad right now.
Yeah.
Full. Yes, it was full last year, and it's as much or more this year. Adding to those baits, Steve, that you were asking about, the third key, I guess you would say, if I was fishing it, is is, as I alluded to a little bit a minute ago, keep moving. Do not get caught up in fishing, history a lot, or just stuck in one spot. I don't care how good that point was in the past, or that clump of bushes, or whatever it was. If you make a pass through there and you don't get bit, there's no need in sitting there for 30 minutes and trying to milk one out. I'll put it this way. If you've been sitting there for 30 minutes and then all of a sudden you catch one, the only reason you caught him because he just swam up there.
Yeah.
Because the ones they're biting so quick. I mean, they want it the first couple of casts.
Yeah.
Ryan, real quick before we let you go, man, how can somebody get a hold of you if they want a guide trip for Toledo Bend?
Yeah, exactly. You can call me or message me. My phone number is 936-591-1183. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and you can also Google me at Southern Waters Guide Service, and it's got all my contact information there.
Good deal.
All right, man. Ryan, thank you, man. Great info, dude. We appreciate you. Thanks, you, man.
Ryan.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for having me back on, guys.
We'll do it again.
Yep, we will. Ryan Pinkston. Appreciate Ryan coming on. Kev, he gave some great, I mean, if you come to Toledo Bend, you couldn't have got better information than that right there.
Well, and that's why when we were talking, Steve, me and you were talking the weekends, like, all right, well, Riley had a 40-pound bag. We got to have Riley on. I'm like, well, we've got to have Ryan on, too, for the Sealy Big Bass Splash. Nobody gives information on Toledo Bend like Ryan Pinkston. He's out there almost every day. I called to him this morning, and I said, you on the water? He said, dude, I've got today off. It's the first day I've had off in forever. And he says, I'm booked the rest of the week. He says, I'm not going on the water today.
Yeah.
So, but he knows what he's doing. He knows how to break it down. Awesome guy, awesome fisherman. If you're looking for a guide trip on Toledo Bend, there's a lot of guys to use. Ryan is one at the top of the list with several of the others. So
yes, absolutely. Okay, let's move on real quick, Kevin. We got a lot to cover. Bassmaster, Lake Fork. Absolutely. I watched a lot of this event. I'm telling you, Lake Fork just continues to just shock the heck out of me. The amount of bait fish that must be in that lake to sustain the level of bass they were catching, it's just crazy. Texas Parks and Wildlife has done an absolutely awesome job.
No, I mean, it's like Sam Rayburn, and it's a lot smaller Sam Rayburn, but like Sam Rayburn in many ways of how it impresses me with the amount of fish and the amount of weights it kicks out. I mean, it's unreal. It's a small body of water for events of that size. And
the pressure it's on that lake.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah.
And it keeps spitting them out. And it wasn't a full-on four-face sonar deal either. I mean, there were some guys get Seth Fighter, Brandon Lester caught them shallow.
Greg Hackney finished 11th, flipping a jig. I mean, that's just been we just haven't been seeing that very much. And of course, again, I'm looking at the top 7 right here. Every one of them, they weren't just scoping; they were doing some other things, especially early there. Some of them were going shallow. I mean, I watched Trey McKinney catch. He was yo-yoing a jig in heavy water and deep water and caught 7 or 8 pounder. Then he picked up a crankbait the next cast and catches another one over 6 on a crankbait. And you're just like, it's like they were just jumping in the boat. Yeah. It was crazy. Well, Tucker Smith won this event. He had 27.8 pounds. And in this event, you had all top 10 guys get a century belt. I know it's Seth Fighter's first century belt for him. And but all 10 guys hit the century mark with 100 pounds or better. And Trey McKinney, Paul Marks was second, 26.11. Trey McKinney was third with 22.3. Fujita Koyoa Fujita, he was actually leading this thing, and he was the favorite going into the final day, but he did not have a good day on the final. He had 21 pounds. We're saying, well, that's not a good day. He averaged 30-pound bag every day until the final day.
Correct.
And so had he catch his normal 30-pound bag, he wins this event, but he ended up 4th with 121.13. JT Tompkins was 5th. Tyler Williams 6th. Wesley Gore 7th. Easton Fothergill was 8th. Jay Surratt was 9th, and Seth Fighter was 10th with 101.8 pounds of fish. And as we said, Greg Hackney finished 11th. Patrick Walters was 12th. So just a really great event. And again, Kevin, they're headed for there. They're going to the Sabine River, where once again, as you stated earlier, 12, 14 pounds, son, you're in the hunt. And so it's a total transition from big lake fishing to now they're going river fishing, basically.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, they're not going to be able to pull up with everything they had tied on from Lake Fork and go fishing at Sabine River. You're going to sit down and retie everything, put some old braid on, flipping stick, and shallow square bill and top
yeah,
water, things like that.
yep.
It'll be a change up for sure, Steve.
Kevin, give us the results of the no scope, no hope deal that Clint put on over there with Outlaw Outdoors.
Yeah, again, so this weekend they had 106 boats. Let me get the results pulled
And this
up.
is on Rayburn.
On Rayburn, on Sam Rayburn. No scope, just hope. No live scope in this tournament. Chris Sanderson and Clarence Sanderson had 2144. Okay. And then second place, Michael Lowry. Steve, he had 2218, had a dead fish penalty, 1 pound dead fish penalty. So he had 2118. So that cost him the win, Steve.
Yeah, I did. I saw that.
Third place, Bill Miracle and David Miracle had 2110. Fourth place, Bubba Frazier, Tommy Hill had 20.73. Fifth place, Doug Posey and Dakota Posey had 20.36. Steve, we paid 18 places, which was 18th place was 1716.
Yeah, so that's good. And again, I think that's a good turnout for that tournament.
Oh, no, 100%. It was a good turnout. That's why I said before the show, it can go either way on this. It was a good turnout. I think Clint was really expecting anywhere between 150 to 200 boats.
Right.
But it's in that. It was a good turnout. It wasn't a bad. It wasn't a great. So where are the tournament directors going to take this information, and what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the deal.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Kevin, you participated in the Elite Eight, which was 2 weeks ago on Toledo Bend. And I'm looking at the results right here. Louisiana Bass Anglers won it 76-82. Kevin, explain the format, because people have asked me, is it 2 fish per boat? Go over the format, because I don't know what it was.
Per boat doesn't matter. It is 12 fish. You have 8 people on a team, so it's 4 boats, 2 people per boat. How many
can each boat bring in? Is there a limit on how many you can bring in? Oh, no. Really?
It doesn't matter how many each boat brings in. You have to weigh in your biggest 12.
Okay.
One day, the second day, my boat, I think we used maybe six of our fish out of the 12. But the first day we only used, I think, 3.
Yeah.
You bring in the 12 largest fish you have. One boat might not have any.
Yeah.
One day one of our teammates' boats, we only used 1 out of his boat.
Yeah.
So that's it. You weigh in your 12 largest fish as a team, and your team is all 4 boats.
Yeah.
Steve, great event, man. The guys with the South. Dang, I didn't went blank on what it is now. South. I have to get the Elite 8 guys. I have to get the name of the organization. I've done went blank for some reason. I'm trying to see if I can pull it over here. This is the second one. The second year in a row. Southern Bass Club Association. There we go. You can find it on Facebook. Southern Bass Club Association. Give them a like. Give them a follow on Facebook, on social media. You can go to their website. They're doing a great job. This is their second tournament. They've grown from last year. They had 2 extra teams from last year. At 16 more boats. 8 more boats. But Steve, I think a lot of clubs and a lot of organizations are watching from the outside looking in, trying to see, because I had 2 club presidents call me this past week, asked me about it. They're thinking about joining, but kind of wanted to see how it was going to go. Let me tell you this, I didn't fish it last year. I wasn't able to. I was able to jump into it this year. I'm still a member of the Die Hard Bass Club there in Natchitoches. I fish them club tournaments when I'm able. So I was eligible to fish this year, and man, great event. They do a great job. Steve, it's different. It's a different format. It's a different style. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the top 6 back in the day. I really enjoyed this one. Hopefully, I'm able to fish again next year.
Yeah.
Great event put on by a great group of guys. Again, you give them a like and a follow on Facebook. You
Yeah.
want a Southern Bass Club Association.
The Louisiana Bass Anglers, what do you know where they're from?
I don't. They're South Louisiana.
Okay, Natchitoches Bass Club, which I believe is
That's
Grant.
Natchitoches boys.
Yeah, and Shad Roberts, Grant Dowden,
Buddy
Howell.
Dowden, Buddy Howell.
Yeah, that group of guys.
Yeah.
And there's the guys. Those are the guys basically running this tournament.
Yeah.
And
well,
so
they're part of it. Yes.
Right. They came in second with 72.60. Toad Hunters Bass Club came in third with 72.18. Lake Area Bass Club number 1 came in fourth with 70.21. Manny Bass Club was fifth, looks like, with 69.34. Sabine Bass Busters was sixth with 61.98. Anyway, good turnout. Congratulations to all you guys. And hopefully, again, I feel like this is something that will continue to grow. Again, it's under great leadership, guys that know what they're doing, understand tournament fishing, and trying to bring this thing back to what it used to be. And hats off to Shad Roberts and all the guys that are involved in that. So congratulations on a good turnout. So okay. All right, Cal. Upcoming tournaments. Let's see here. May 16th. Well, this weekend.
Steve, I got a quick question for you. I was trying to look it up. I thought Bayou Bandits won that. Where are you getting those results?
Well,
is that last?
It says Elite 8 results 2025.
Okay, I'll have to.
I copied it off of a Facebook page, and there were the results were listed there.
Okay, I'll check that real quick. I'll check.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just went by what it said at 2025 results, so I just pulled it up and locked it down. Okay. Upcoming tournaments: May 16th, 17th, and 18th. Of course, this weekend, Sealy Outdoors out of Cypress Bend Park, right there on Toledo Bend. May 24th, the next weekend, I will be at Lake of the Pines for the ABA Pro League Texas Division, and that's coming up. Outlaw Outdoors Championship, I believe, is also the same weekend on Rayburn, May 24th. May 31st, Toledo Bend Bass Series South will be taking place. Also, there's two or three more. Also on the 31st, Outlaw Team Series Championship on Rayburn. Wait a minute.
Got that one on there twice.
I got it on twice. So, and that's the actual date, not the 24th. I need to change that real quick so I don't make that mistake again. Let's see here. Bass Champs, May 31st, Lake Tawakoni will be their final team event of the year. And so let's see here. Also, May 31st and June 1st, this is makeup. One was an actual tournament date for the ABA Louisiana Division. I believe the May 31st was their normal ABA Louisiana Division on Red River. Right now, as far as I know, that's still on. Red River is extremely high. If you have not been on it, I have been on it. I've been on it in the last week, and I can tell you it is rolling. I do not recommend you getting on the main river right now. If you can launch in an oxbow and fish, you're fine. But I saw trees, 30-foot trees coming down the river the other day when I was putting in a cachata. I ran straight across to the pocket and fished in there. But be careful. There are major floaters coming down Red River right now. Texoma is continuing to release a ton of water. It was 1.5 feet from going over the top of the dam, and they are pumping water out of there as fast as they can get it out, and that's the water coming down to us. And so it's going to be, that's what, 3 weeks away. We'll see. Well, the river doesn't go down real quick, but it maybe it's going to be fishable, maybe it won't. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date. Chris Wayne will let me know what's going on as far as the rescheduling. But there's back-to-back days, May 31st, June 1st, and that's a back-to-back ABA Louisiana Division on Red River.
Right.
June 6th through the 8th, Bass Champ Skeeter Owners Tournament on Lake Fork. And June 7th and 8th, Texas Team Trail Championship will be taken on Rayburn. Yes. And so, but anyway, so that kind of tell you what's going on here in the next month.
Right. Yep. Lake level, Steve, as of today, Toledo Bend is 172.45. The difference of 5.4 inches, 10-day gain of 1.18 feet, and a 24-hour loss of 3 inches. They are pumping it
They're
out.
pumping it out. Yes.
But it's coming down still. I mean, it's not raining, but the water is still coming
Still
down.
coming in. Yes. Sam Rayburn is at 165.88. It's 1.48 feet above pool. 10-day gain of 1.43 and a 24-hour gain of 0.84. And again, understand this, right, people, Rayburn and Lake of the Pines, those are two bodies of water that are designed to hold water back. They're not going to drop water out of Rayburn.
Not like Toledo Bend.
No, they're not going to drop water out of Sam Rayburn to flood them people out down around Beaumont. They're not doing that. They'll hold it back. Same thing, Lake of the Pines. They're not going to flood Caddo Lake and those people down that way. They're not going to flood them out. They'll hold the water back. Lake of the Pines is 3.47 feet above pool right now. I was there this past week. There's water in the bushes. I mean, in the bushes, plenty of water in the bushes, 2 to 3 feet in the bushes in some places. So if you like to do that, it's a great time to go over to Lake of the Pines and flip bushes because there are some fish in the bushes. Lake Fork, Kev, what are you showing?
403.41 feet. That's high, Steve. Different, a 10-day gain of 1.68 inches and a 24-hour loss of 0.12 inches. So it's 3 feet above pool right now.
Yep.
So, and that's where all the water's coming down. They're pulling pulling water hard off port because it's high. It's 3 feet high. So they're pulling it. That's where all the water's coming down to Toledo Bend. So Toledo Bend, they're. I know they were talking about opening the gates. I'm not for sure if they did or not. I didn't see if they did or not. But it's they got a lot of water coming down. They got to continue to send it on through. So
yeah. All right, Kev. Fish care. Hey guys, it's that time of year now. I haven't been. I'm one of those guys. I bring water bottles. I bring ice bottles to drop in the live well. I'll bring at least 5. I'll drop one in there every other hour. Try to keep that water cool because we're talking 91 to 93 degrees this weekend. That water temperature is going to heat up pretty quick, and you're going to have to do a little additional babysitting now from here on out till probably what, Kev, September? I mean, you gotta take care of your fish, and so ice. A good additive like G juice or whatever you like to use, whatever it is, use it, but make sure you keep that water as cool as possible. You don't want to shock them, but you definitely want that water to be a lot cooler than especially, and fill up your live well early in the morning when the water's coolest. Put it on recirculate, put your ice in there as the day goes on. It'll keep that water perfect for them all day long, and you won't lose a bunch of fish at the weigh-in. So, or before the weigh-in. And but that's my tip of the week this week for as far as fish care. Make sure that you take good care of your fish. Kevin, you got anything?
that does it for me for the week, Steve.
All right, man. We covered a lot today.
We did.
we did. We covered a lot. Again, let your fellow fishermen buddies know. Hey, tune us in, Tackle Talk Live. This will be on YouTube, Instagram. You can check us out any one of those places. But hey, make sure you check us out. So we appreciate you tuning us in today. Follow us whichever way you follow podcasts. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will make sure to send you a detailed packet. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week right here with more Tackle Talk Live.